Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Jack and Joe show. I would say, how are you doing? But in football terms, I imagine everyone's doing pretty well after, at the time of recording, last night's performance. Jack, you were there, as was
We're both
I.
there.
Yeah. And how
Yeah.
did you find it?
I'll tell you what, the highlight was seeing you at halftime and your dad saying it's going to finish 5-0. And at 5-0, I was like, Rob was right. It's going to finish 5-0. But we had
At
two
half
more.
time, I've got to say, I was thinking, oh, that's a bit optimistic.
Yeah.
Um,
I
crazy.
can't believe we're
We had
here
a
again.
great time in Reading for once because what an absolutely awful place. But what an absolutely fantastic game.
Mm,
And I guess we should just get straight into it. I mean, it's been a while since we played I don't want to say a proper match, but a
mm.
match in terms of the league that actually matters for what we're aiming for this season, which is promotion. We obviously have the cup game, which I don't think we should talk about really in this video. I think we can just sort of breeze past that. We won, fantastic, fine.
But we did draw
Then
City.
we did draw City, and that just sort of undermines the whole thing,
Yeah, definitely.
despite that chant last night. But yeah, last night, I mean, we started off, and for the first 10 minutes, I thought the intensity was a lot better than it was in the Cup or in the games pre-Christmas when we went on a bit of a poor run. What did you make of how we started the game, Jack, and obviously then going 1-0 up quite early doors?
Well, it was a slow start from Fulham, but in sort of a way in which that it wasn't too concerning. It was more of in a matter of time, something's going to happen for us. And it just so happened it was a defensive error that basically let us in for the first goal. And I have to say that Scott Dan going off after how many minutes, 4 or 5 minutes. I know you were delighted with the news, but it really did make a whole difference to the game because in terms of Scott Dan as a player, he's probably the only out of the back four defensive player who had some sort of stability. He's got some experience, Championship level, Premier League level. So to lose him was a big blow for Reading, and I just thought they didn't really recover from that. And ever since the mistake, and especially scoring just before half time as well, really took the sting out of the game. But first half, we were pretty passive. We didn't actually have to get out of second gear, not only for the first half, but probably for the whole game. And Reading, I know we beat them 4-1 and they went down to 10 men. John Swift got sent off a couple of years ago, but it felt like we were playing 10 men last night. It was really poor from them. They've obviously got a load of injury problems, but if you're trying to postpone the game because of COVID and injuries, you are inevitably going to get your Sky Bet karma. And that happened last night. And I don't know why the narrative is all about Andy Carroll scoring two offside goals, by the way. Doesn't matter how they go in, it's offside. And plus, the whistle had already gone on the second one. Such a boring narrative. The narrative here is Fulham won 7-0 twice away from home this season, which is genuinely unheard of in modern times of football, Joe. But yeah, the first goal was good to get, but a terrible mistake from the Reading defenders.
Yeah, I do want to slightly touch on what you just said about Andy Carroll there because it is a bit bizarre how much attention these offside goals are getting. Stand on side, mate,
They
to
don't
be completely
exist.
honest.
They're not goals. They just don't
Yeah,
exist.
yeah.
What?
It
It's
reminds me of last season when we drew with I think it was Southampton 0-0, and
mm,
they had two goals disallowed for offside by VAR, and the headlines were saying Fulham lucky escape. Why are we lucky for playing people offside? I think that's actually just a very good defensive line.
yeah.
Sorry, but anyway, I hope the Reading fans enjoyed their trip running over to us. It's a shame they had to walk back when it was disallowed. But anyway, yeah, complete mistake for the first goal from their defenders. And like you said, Scott Dan going off, I was happy. I don't want to wish injury on any player, and that's not why I was happy, obviously. I was just happy that if they were going to lose a player to injury in their defence, that's who I would have wanted it to be from a Fulham
Mm,
perspective. He's the experienced head. Everyone else is quite young. And then it was a makeshift defence after that, and you could really tell. I mean, this was so different to the Blackburn game in terms of Blackburn. Yes, we were 1-0 up before they had, 2-0 up before they had a player sent off.
mm,
But the element of control that we had in this game versus 11 men compared to that of Blackburn was even more so. I mean, it was in the second half in particular, which we'll get on to in a second. Because the first half was I thought the performance was fine. I thought it was fine. I thought it was better than we were seeing pre-Christmas, but
mm.
not hitting the heights that we were hitting earlier on in the season in that Blackburn game, as an example. But it was comfortable. there wasn't really much danger other than Andy Carroll. He was the one player that you thought could make something happen. Great save by Rodak from,
Mm,
I think it was Kamara at 1
mm.
0 from a back heel, but that just came out of nothing. And he was sort of sitting there at halftime thinking, well, we stop Andy Carroll in the second half. I can't see them scoring. And we did that and then some. I mean, they didn't have a sniff second half. I think they had one corner when we were already 7-0 up or 6-0
Yeah,
up.
yeah.
Um, I would go as far as saying, Jack, and this may be a slight exaggeration because it was so recent, but the period between 45 and 75 minutes yesterday, I'm tempted to say is the best I've seen Fulham play in my lifetime
Ooh.
in
In
terms
your
of a
life,
half. In my lifetime, in terms of the control of the game, Reading, 0 shots, 0 attacks, 0 anything. And granted, we were
zero
playing against
fans.
yeah. We were playing against a poor side that was low on confidence anyway, but we looked like scoring every time we went forward. And even under Djukanovic, I don't think I could have said that. The
Mm,
control was similar, but the intent on scoring again and again and again was so different. And I think we've got to talk about Harry Wilson, Jack. I
we
mean,
have to.
what a performance.
Yeah, there's a couple players I want to flag up for individual performances after last night, but you can't ignore Harry Wilson. Was it 2 goals? Five? Was it five? You have to correct me. 5 goal contributions because he got
Yeah,
fouled for the
well,
penalty.
I think he was technically involved in 6 of the 7, and
It's
then the
mental.
7th one was when he was off the pitch.
I mean, the kid came in and we were like, good signing for championship level, but I feel like it's been slightly underappreciated how good of a player he is. I feel like we've sort of taken him for granted a bit because he's sort of come in, we've gone, oh yeah, he'll just stick on the right. And because he's played a lot of games for us, I don't think he's missed many games apart from suspensions when he got red card at Huddersfield. He's just amazing. And he just completely links up everything you need. And when he's on the right hand side, he's not necessarily pacey, like really quick, like a Cabano quick. But he's just got all the attributes you need as an attacking midfielder in I'd say the championship or in maybe if it's in the Premier League. I think he's good enough. And what he does so well is he just keeps the ball very well with his feet when he's running down the wing. And the first goal is a real poacher's goal because the press is high from Fulham. That's already apparent. But to nip in and get that ball and put it in the back of the net quite easily is really good play from him. And then, of course, the second is my favourite because the ball's gone. I mean, that touch has taken it basically out of play. He still gets fouled and still wins the penalty. It's a silly challenge. Wins the pen and Mitro, again, a very unconvincing penalty, but we'll take it. And then great move for the third. Is that the Wilson makes it 3-0? I can't even keep counting this at this point.
Yeah, it
Wilson makes
was.
it 3-0 with the tap in. Again, his movement inside the box. The interchange of the Fulham. That's a fantastic goal. And yeah, just a really good performance from a man who is well worth the £0 and 0 pence that we've spent on him so far. But yeah, fantastically proving himself at this level and in this league. And I think I don't know what you think, Joe, but this guy is someone who I want to be at the club for a very long time because he's got such good potential and he's still very young. I mean, he's like 24, 25 years old.
Yeah, it's crazy. I've got a stat in my head which I don't know if I can voice over correctly because it's a bit weird. But to put into perspective how good I think Wilson has been goal scoring wise, considering he's had a 3-game suspension, considering there was some games when he's just been contributing assists. So he's now scored 8 league goals for us
Mm,
this season. The gap between him and Dominic Solanke in terms of goal scoring is only 4 more than the
wow.
gap between Mitrovic and Solanke. To put that into perspective, Mitrovic is 6 ahead and Solanke's 10 ahead. So, if you're looking at those as a comparison, maybe I'm just being a bit overdramatic in my head, but I'm just thinking that our winger is not a million miles behind Solanke if you're saying that Solanke and Mitrovic are having great seasons. Mitrovic,
Mm,
animal this season, absolute animal. The way he
mm,
sprinted to get the ball for the 7th goal in injury time when it was wrapped up, the
mm,
intent is there, and he's just a different player than we've ever
mm,
seen before. Um, he's ruthless. His all-round game is exceptional. The way he links it up, the pass through to Wilson for the 5th goal where Wilson crosses to Cabano to finish, is an unbelievable reverse pass.
Mm.
The way that he cuts it through the line when the obvious ball is out, spreading it wide to the wing, which I would have done if I was in his position.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, I'm not great at football, so I guess that's a bit obvious. But it was just exceptional, and
Mm.
I can't wax lyrical enough about him. I really want us to go up and him to be able to prove himself as a Premier League footballer, because the problem that we've got is that the argument that he can't do it in the Premier League, sadly, to this date, holds a bit of weight. You can't fully argue
Mm.
against it in terms of historical seasons. He was good in 18-19 when we went up for the first half of the season. Second half sort of went off the boil, as the whole side did. But that's the best he's got, is the 10-11 goals he got that season. I really want him to prove himself next season if and when we go up, because the way that I see him right now is 100% a Premier League player playing in the Championship. You know, he's 7 goals away from breaking the record. He's not 6 goals. He's 2 goals away from matching his record in 2019-20. And we've got so many more games left to play. We've got 1 game less than half the season remaining. It's
Mm.
unbelievable the heights this man could reach this season. One thing I think we should talk about, Jack, is set pieces. Once
Oh yeah.
again, 2 goals from set pieces. In my opinion, this is a really untapped resource that we've just been terrible at for years. What do you make of us from set pieces? Is it all down to the delivery from players like Wilson and Seri when he's available? Is it down to the fact that the coaching has just got better?
I think you've got to put it down to the coaching, because it's not. No, sorry, a bit of both. Obviously, when you've got someone with delivery like John Mikel Seri, who on his day, obviously he wasn't playing last night. He's got a great delivery and he's produced a lot of goals from set pieces with his delivery. Remind me who took the corners last night?
It was
Was it
Wilson.
Ke? Oh, Wilson. Again, obviously another assist. The Mitrovic header onto Tete's head is surely a training ground routine, surely, because it's pinged out to a certain area in the box where Mitrovic is, by the way, free as a bird, which is ridiculous. And then he just prods it forward. It's a powerful header itself. And Tete only just needs to get a glance. And what a great moment for Kenny Tete to score his first goal for Fulham. And that's what was so special about last night. It was like everyone got a piece of the action. And I was sort of saying at 6-0, oh, Mitrovic only scored 1 tonight. And we scored 7 at Blackburn. And Mitrovic only scored 1 that night. And obviously he comes up with the second goal for his 7th. But yeah, the ball was good from Wilson. Really direct, really pacey as well, which generated the power of the header from Mitrovic. And then Tete has to just glance it home. And then Tosin, the ball in as well. Tosin's a tall figure, yeah. He's a good target man in the box. And actually, he just bullies everyone in that box to get that header to it. And generally, the guy who's on the line, I don't know who it was the guy who gave away the penalty. That attempt to try and clear it off the line was futile at best. Like, I think he just stuck his leg out and kind of just was like, oh, it's in. That's like 6-0, was it, at the time? But yeah, really impressed. And it's good. I know we spoke about this a few weeks ago because we've been scoring a lot of goals from set pieces. It's good that we have a threat from set pieces, because every time we got a corner before, everyone was like, well, nothing's going to happen here. So it's good, Joe. And what do you make of the set pieces?
The way I see it is, for the first time in my life supporting Fulham,
Mm.
I'm waiting for something to happen when we get a corner or a free kick. I'm waiting for a chance, whereas normally it's just sort of hit and hope and just, one a season might go in.
Mm.
Now it's almost an expectation. For that Tosin corner yesterday, after we'd already scored the Tete corner, I was expecting us to create a chance from it. And like you said, that defender, I think it was Tom Holmes, he had an absolute shocker of an evening. We'll come on to his involvement in the 7th goal in a minute. Bullet header from Tosin, and just it's great to have goals coming from all areas, because if we do go up to the Premier League, I think one area where we really do need to improve is our set pieces. That can
Mm.
get you, if you use it right, like a side like Burnley do, that can get you 10 goals a season. That can gain you several points that you need to stay up. And it's really an untapped resource for us. Marco
Yeah.
Silva, when he took over the job, everyone was saying how crap he was from set pieces, both going forward and defensively. Haven't seen anything of that so far. I don't know who
Mm.
they're looking at. I mean, maybe at previous clubs, his zonal marking defensive systems weren't working, but so far we've looked pretty astute. Obviously conceded a couple from set pieces, as most teams do. I want to come on to the last goal, Jack. I know we haven't done this strictly in order.
Yeah, but I mean, there's so much to get through anyway.
There's too many goals. Muniz comes on, and I think this sums up Marco Silva and the difference between him and Scott Parker. We are 6-0 up. We've got a game on Saturday, so obviously about 4 days away. Would you take Mitrovic off? No. We'll leave him on and we'll play 2 up front and go for another goal.
It's
It's
so
just
funny.
brilliant. It's just hilarious. And it's
It's
also
funny.
great because it's just this mentality is brilliant. And Muniz came on and Tom Holmes, the defender, he hasn't said a peep to Mitrovic all evening. He's been terrified of him. He's been getting absolutely annihilated by him. Straight over to Muniz, causing a bit of a ruckus. And Mitrovic comes over, stands up for his friend. Anyway, the ball comes back into play. And I'm sure, as everyone's seen, Muniz sits down Tom Holmes. Shot comes in, saved. Mitrovic scores the rebound. I just thought that was brilliant. I think that was my favourite moment of the evening. Exactly what the defender deserved, in my opinion.
It's great, isn't it? Because we haven't really seen that initiative from Muniz yet to actually take someone on. I think he's got the pace for it, definitely the athleticism for it as well. It just felt like he had that kind of freedom. We're already 6-0 up, and it's basically Silva's brought him on to go, show me what you can do in this sort of situation. Can you add anything to the game for us, especially up front? And he's taken that ball down and he's span him, and he's basically he's got two options. He basically shoots and scores, and everyone goes mental, or he shoots and scores, and someone's just gonna tap it in, and it happened to be Mitro, and obviously the latter happened, and it's good because Muniz gets that sort of confidence. That the reaction from Mitrovic when he scores, he runs over to Muniz and everyone sort of congratulates him because Muniz makes that goal. And I think that for me is, yes, he's scored, I think, 3 goals already for Fulham. That's got to be his best contribution to Fulham so far in a Fulham shirt. Yes, I get it. We're 6-0 up and, the game's basically gone. But Muniz to have that initiative to take it down and take on a man, it's really good from him and shows a lot of promise. And to bring on 2 strikers in that situation, you love to see it. I mean, it's so ambitious. And I think there's a lot to sort of make up because we've had so much time off. It's almost like, well, how many goals can we actually get? How much more goal difference can we spread across and get ahead of the others? And can we really put that pressure on Bournemouth? Bournemouth would have been looking at that result last night going, oh, I forgot about Fulham and they're a problem. And it's just good to see it. And then Bournemouth playing the early kickoff on 12:30 as well against Luton, and we play Bristol City. So we'll see what happens come Saturday, 5:30. We have to talk about Kearney as well, surely. I mean, what a performance. And this is the only really good thing about Seri going to AFCON is Kearney's got his chance now. And boy, did he take it.
Oh, if Wilson hadn't put in the performance that he had, then Kearney would have been my man of the match by a country mile. I thought those two were so good between them. Sort of got to give it to Wilson for all the goal contributions, which is just like 6 goal contributions is unheard of. 6 goals is normally unheard of, let alone 6 goal contributions from one player. Kearney's control in the second half in particular was him at his peak. The Kearney that we saw in 2016 to 2018, but possibly even better. Every pass perfect, looking forward all the time, recycling possession, winning the ball back if we lost it high up the pitch. Just one of those performances when you think, I am so glad that Kearney's back, because it's easy to forget that about a year out, some of us were thinking we wouldn't see him in a Fulham shirt again, and I'm so relieved that we have. I do think it helped that, small word on Harrison Reed, playing in the number 6 position, obviously his favoured position. And that's another slight benefit of Seri being at AFCON, is that Reed is the deepest lying midfielder. And I thought he was at his best there. Again, best performance of the season from him, in my opinion. And it gave Kearney a bit more freedom that I don't think Seri quite gives, because I don't think Seri has the same defensive ability as Reed. Not that that's any slant on Seri. He's been great. I think it allowed Kearney to just take the initiative a bit more, drive us up the pitch. That midfield too, with Carvalho in front, I think worked really well. I think Carvalho had a bit of a quiet game, which is a bit weird considering we won 7-0. Wouldn't be surprised if Bobby came in for him
Mm,
against Bristol City.
definitely.
Um, and yeah, it was one of those where I felt like everything Kenny did, he did right. It was the correct ball every time, looking forward every time. Um, and I saw your tweet, Jack, which was fantastic, of the difference between Kearney after the playoffs, clapping the Fulham fans, and then um, I think either celebrating or clapping with us last night.
Yeah,
Um, it must be a great feeling for him, and he's had some good memories there since that playoff game, obviously scoring the 2 goals in the 4-1 win. But I think last night would have really topped it off for him, and a few of the players such as Ream that were there for that playoff semi-final when I just couldn't believe that we hadn't done it.
mm,
I think last night was the result that a lot of us really deserved going back to Reading.
mm,
We haven't had much luck there over the years, and it's always been a bit confusing why. Um, and after the postponement, everything was just sort of winding everyone up, and it was like they took their anger out on the pitch in the right
yeah.
way and just dominated.
Or on the seat at full time, but we won't get into that. That's just something that I found interesting. Right. Anyway,
Yeah, hope the
the
seat's all right.
yeah, poor seat. Poor seat at the leasing.com stadium, leasing cars, whatever it's called. What was pleasing last night was that the 400 or so who went up to Blackburn saw a great 7-0 win. But now, I don't know how many fans were there last night. Must have been over 2,000, maybe stretching 3. Everyone saw it. So now everyone can say, I saw Fulham win 7-0 away from home. To do it twice is just, it's just so stupid. Like, it's ridiculous. But we were really worried, weren't we, a couple of weeks ago, saying, oh, we haven't played for a while, we haven't won for a
Yeah.
while. And I can't believe we just produced this performance and this result. And it's just sort of lifted everyone again and gone, right, we're back. And we're actually going to probably go up. And I'm touching wood, of course. Was Reading the perfect opponent to play? Do you think that result happens against any other team in the division? I'm thinking no. I genuinely think Reading are at rock bottom right now. And I actually had a few drinks with a couple of Reading fans who knew a couple of my Fulham friends before the game, and they were saying, you're going to thrash us tonight. I did not expect 7-0, though. Again, Joe.
No, I thought we would win. I do agree that probably at this moment in time, I can't think of a poorer side right this second in the division than Reading.
Mm,
Barnsley, even they're not that bad. Derby are better than their position suggests.
of
Peterborough,
course.
they're only 3 points off safety at the moment, Peterborough, with a game in hand, I believe. So we've done them a bit of a favour by hammering Reading's goal difference. Yeah, I think it was a perfect opponent, but going into the game, I was also a bit wary of it being a banana skin. After losing to Kidderminster in the cup, you'd have thought there'd have been a big reaction from Reading. And to be honest, there was never really a chance for that reaction because it was disruption with Scott Dan going off injured. There was an unthinkable mistake giving us a 1-0 lead, and the game plans then out the window.
Mm,
Um, that early goal just destroys their confidence. But the goal on halftime was the killer.
mm,
But even then, I wasn't expecting a rout that big until the fifth goal went in. I wasn't expecting anything crazy. I thought, oh my god, 5-0 is a bit insane already.
yeah.
Um, just brilliant. And like you said, Jack, when we did the video after the Blackburn game, I was so happy for you that you'd seen a 7-0 win, and I was almost cursing, thinking, oh, I think I've missed the only chance ever in my
Yeah.
lifetime to see Fulham win 7-0. Um, couldn't believe it. And I
2
was
months
so
later.
happy. Yeah, exactly. 2 months
Ridiculous.
later, just cannot believe it. And I've only been to 2 away games this season. I've been to Nottingham Forest and I've been to Reading, and the aggregate score is 11-0, which is just absolutely insane.
Mm.
Um, just truly bizarre. So yeah, what are your final thoughts on the game, Jack? And then I guess we'll look ahead to Saturday.
Yeah, we've got another game, and this is the good thing now. After that win, we beat Peterborough 1-0. It's a cagey game, but we could really stamp our authority, especially at home against the Bristol City side, who are today facing a points deduction. But that's a discussion for another time. Final thoughts on the game. Good, just really good to see that sort of performance and actually put a lot of confidence back into the players and the fans. I think the players were under they were sort of like, if we just play our football, we'll be fine. But the fans are always thinking, oh, you know what Fulham are like, blah blah blah, and so that's good to see. Goals 5 and 7. I thought I was gonna die. Honestly, there was so many bodies on me. I genuinely was like, um, I couldn't breathe for a bit. It was quite dangerous. I was quite alarmed by what was going on, so I had to like grab someone's ankle, say, "Oh, please grab me," and so everyone lived. But it was good fun. But just got to hold my balance next time. Maybe just try and grab onto someone before falling over, because
Yeah, you did a bit of a Tom Holmes falling over, I guess.
mate, the bruise as well on my leg is purple, to say the least. But a good night. I'm glad everyone got to be there to see it as well. And rolled on Bristol City. Have you got any final thoughts on the game either?
No, I think you've summed it up pretty well. Instantly, my reaction was, we need to keep this going because,
Mm,
as you said, then obviously we went on to beat Peterborough in our next game. The Blackburn game was the Tuesday night, was it? I think, and then
like a Tuesday,
Peterborough was the
Wednesday. Yeah.
Saturday or the Wednesday. Yeah. So same situation where played midweek, won 7-0, got another game on the Saturday. Um, the Peterborough game was a bit like an after the Lord Mayor's show
Mm,
performance when it's almost like a bit back down to earth. Not the best performance, but we got the job done. I don't care how we win on Saturday as long as we win. You know, we've got 2 home games now coming up, and I guess we'll preview both right now. Um,
oh yeah.
we need 6 points. We need 6 points. I mean, 4 points from it, no matter what happens in other games, takes us back to the top of the league. That is
Oh yeah. Of
fact.
course.
4 points takes us top on goal difference because our goal difference is just an absolute joke.
Yeah.
But I want 6 points, and I'm sure everyone else does as well. These are 2 struggling teams. Birmingham more so than Bristol City, I'd say, but 2 games that we should target getting 3 points. And I think the key thing here is keeping that performance level at a similar level to what we saw last night, because if we can play like that every week, I mean, I'm not saying we'll win 7-0 every week. I thought
Mm,
the opposition was frighteningly poor, but we'll certainly win every game if we play like that. It was just one of those nights. So let's go to Bristol City then, the game. Played them in the Cup. They played a slightly stronger team than we did. They were probably the better team over the 90 minutes. I think in
mm.
extra time, we were the better team. So swings and roundabouts. When we brought our best players on, it's no surprise that we were the better team. Um, would you change? I know this may sound a bit silly after we just won 7-0, but would you change any of the starting 11 that started last night for Saturday?
Yes, I think I would. I think
Interesting. I think I would as well.
Carvalho's had 2 poor games in a row now,
Yeah.
and where he's got that freedom, didn't really show it last night or against Bristol City. So I'd put in Bobby De Cordova-Reid, because I just think he's a good option. I've always liked to see Bobby Reid play. I always think he contributes well, and yeah, he can miss the odd like sitter or big chance, but he can create as well. And if he plays in that creative area, interchange it with Wilson, happy days. It's going to run them ragged. I don't think Nigel Pearson and Lee Bowyer are 2 managers who are gonna be very happy with a 7-0 drubbing against Fulham. I think they'll be a lot more defensively sturdy than Reading were last night. But starting with Bristol City, I thought they were really good against us and actually one of their best performances of the season. It just so happened I'm sort of not reading too much into that because we didn't play our best team. And I think once we play our best team, I think our quality will show. But there are players to worry about. Naki Wells, Andres Weimann, Chris Martin. I mean, I don't think he's going to play. And they've got some good midfielders like the likes of Alex Scott as well. So Bristol City, Rob Atkinson, Thomas Callis were especially very good as well. If they can keep Mitro quiet, it could be a frustrating afternoon. But I'd back us to win. It's the Birmingham game I'm more nervous about because Birmingham are extremely unpredictable at this moment in time. Although they did just get dominated by a Plymouth side who are obviously in League One at the weekend. But again, how much can you read into it with team selection and stuff? So I'm like you. I'm expecting 6 points, but I think, unfortunately, I think we're going to get 4. Unfortunately.
Okay. You think we're going to draw the Birmingham game? I'm guessing
Yeah,
from what you just
I
said
think we're
then.
going to
Yeah.
draw the Birmingham game. I think Troy Deeney is going to
Oh
get like a
no.
penalty, like very early days, like a very early Birmingham penalty, and score it, and then we get one in the second half of a 1-1 draw. Whereas Bristol City, I think we could win maybe 2 or 3-0. if we're on our day. But Bristol
Mm.
City have beaten us every time they've played us at the Cottage since we've been like relegated and stuff. So tough one, Joe. What do you think?
Yeah, weirdly, because of the reason you've just said then, I'm actually the opposite, where I'm more nervous for the Bristol City game, purely
Right.
based on historical records against
Mm,
them last few years. There was that point in about 2017 where Tammy Abraham was up front for them, and I think they beat us in the Cup and the League in the space of about 4 days, both at the
mm,
Cottage. And you just sort of, I was on the train back with Bristol City fans both times, and I was thinking, this can't be happening regularly, and it still
yeah.
is. Every time we play them at home, we lose. So um, need to change that. Think we can change that. Obviously, they're a bit more rested than us because they haven't had a midweek fixture. They haven't played since our game against them, so they've had a full week of rest. Um, Mitrovic, Wilson, Cabano, Kearney, and Reed were the 5 subs we made in that cup game. And I know Bristol City had tired legs, but when those 5 came on, the game shifted. We were the better team. We
Mm,
created the better chances. We ended up scoring the goal, fluky or not. So I'm hoping that with those players, we can do the same for the 90 minutes on Saturday. We should have beaten them at Ashton Gate in the league game. Their goal was offside. We had enough chances
mm,
to win regardless of that. Um, I think that we can create enough to win here. And if we're anywhere near as clinical as we were last night, then we should be getting 3 points. But I agree with you about Bobby D called over Reed coming in for Carvalho.
mm,
Um, obviously, like Carvalho a lot, want him to stay and want him to be involved for the rest of this season and beyond. But at the same time, he hasn't been performing the last few games. I would like to see Bobby Reed get a go because he
mm,
hasn't had that many minutes in the league for a while. And when he came on when he played in the cup the other day, I thought he was one of our brighter attacking players.
mm,
The rest of the team, unless there's any fitness issues, which I hope there isn't, then I would keep it the same. I imagine that in the space of these 2 games, we'll see a bit more rotation. For example,
mm,
Chalabar might get a few minutes, Joe Bryan or Adoy for either of the wing backs could get some minutes. And I'm sure that we'll see Mooners a fair bit as well because,
mm,
um, Mitrovic, I don't think he's going to play the full 270 minutes. He's already played 90 after playing for probably about 60 in the end on Saturday. So, yeah, I'm expecting some rotation, but for this one, I'd leave it as close to the team that beat Reading as possible, with the exception of Bobby. Um, and I guess score prediction time. I mean, I can't not be confident after what I saw last night. I
mm.
don't think it will be the same sort of game where it's just an absolute rout, but I can't bet against us. So I'm going to go for a 2-0 Fulham win.
Yeah, I think it always seems as though if we score early,
Yeah.
we tend to rout a team. Even Nottingham Forest, we scored quite early and we went on to win 4-0. So yeah, if we're not frustrated, we get an early goal. I think we're in for another treat on Saturday. But I'm always cautious. Nigel Pearson, who might not even be on the touchline at halftime, given what's going on with the breach. He made some comments after the game against QPR when they lost in the last minute of the game. I don't know what he said, but he has to respond to that, and he could be having a touchline ban for Saturday, which doesn't play into our hands. Who really knows in this sort of situation? But yeah, I'm going to echo you and say like 2 or 3-0. I think Fulham will be okay, and I just think controlling and just nullifying Vyman is very important. He
Yeah.
makes a lot of things happen for Bristol City. Apart from that, I don't think they have an awful lot going for them. But like I said last week, they're not going to go up and they're not going to go down. So I think they'll be fine. They just need to rebuild for the summer. And then I suppose Birmingham, we should talk about it. Did I say 1-1? I'm going to have to stick with 1-1, I think. But I
Yeah.
think Fulham have got enough to win the game. Surely it's just, I'm a little bit nervous. I don't know why. We just won 7-0, really.
Yeah. I'm unsure on what to predict for the Birmingham one because we've got the game in between, but I would back us to win again. I think Birmingham defensively, very poor. Don't seem to score a lot either, which actually surprised me when you look at some of the attacking options they've got, like Deeney. I mean, I know one player can't change the whole team, um, but yeah, it does surprise me that he scored as little as he has. Obviously, scored the penalty against us earlier in the
Mm,
season in what was a really interesting game. So um, at that point, they were going quite well. Obviously, it's a bit different now. So it'd be interesting if it's another really free flowing game, end to end. I personally doubt it. I don't think many teams now are going to play that way against us, especially at Craven Cottage. I think a lot of teams are going to come and try and shut up shop like Sheffield United did. And if you can nick a goal early doors, then you're in with a chance. But, I don't know how often that's going to happen. And I hope it doesn't happen at all. But yeah, so two big home games coming up. A chance for the next time we speak to be back top of the league.
Mm.
Trying to think of our rivals fixtures for this weekend. Bournemouth go to Luton in the early kickoff. And
Mm.
Blackburn, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, Jack, are away to Cardiff in a game that will have
Mm.
no fans in. I think that's this weekend. That might
I
be
haven't
wrong.
actually checked. Yeah, it's been so long since there's been a full bit of fixtures. Really, I need to get back on it really and see what's
I
going
know.
on.
Yeah. So obviously hope for results going our way in those ones as well as whoever West Brom are playing.
Mm.
Um, it's all looking quite good right now, isn't it? After a period where we were all getting a bit uncertain due to basically just not playing. It was
Mm.
horrible having to watch everyone else leapfrog us, and we couldn't do anything about it.
Mm.
Um, and teams going on about Blackburn being second. Oh, it'd be great to see them back in the Premier League. I admit, you know what? It would be all right to
It would be
see
fantastic. Yeah.
Blackburn. It would be great, but I don't want it to be at the expense of Fulham. And it
Mm.
was frustrating knowing they're above us when we had the chance to get back up there. And I'm glad we
Mm.
have 1 point behind Bournemouth, game in hand, points on the board over games in hand always,
Yeah.
but 4 points from the next two and we're back top. And that's the minimum we should be getting. I think that, well, to be honest, I think the minimum we should get should be 6, but
This is the championship. Remember.
this is the championship. Yeah.
um, we should discuss the fact that because we're playing on Saturday, we could also do talk Monday and then potentially talk Thursday, potentially going live. But we'll just we'll just
Oh,
we'll
we
just
certainly
we'll
could.
just
Yeah.
we'll just tease that because
Yeah.
we were going to go live actually like today, but I knew you couldn't do it. Like it would have been a good one to do live, but don't forget we've got that deadline day live coming as well, 31st.
I
I've
was going
taken
to
the
say
day
that.
off work for that. I've literally
Oh,
booked it off just
fantastic.
in case. Just
Yeah.
in
I mean,
case.
it's less than 3 weeks away now, Jack. I mean, there's always Marco Silva saying, oh, it's going to be a quiet window. We know the rules. It's never a quiet window,
Well,
right?
it could be quiet. I
It
don't
could
think
be
there
quiet,
needs
but
to
there's
be
always
much.
rumours, isn't there? There's always something on deadline day to talk about.
You want to just quickly touch on the Christie rumor that sort of was like open and then shut like in the space of 20 minutes?
Oh yeah, I think I checked my phone twice today, and the first one said, "Oh, Christie's going to Swansea," and I was thinking, "Oh, well, that's a good move for him. I hope he does well." And then it just said the Christie move has collapsed, so we don't know what's going on with that one. But sounds like he was an option for Swansea, who need a right back after Ethan Laird has been recalled by United and loaned out to Bournemouth.
Bournemouth.
In a very strange deal, but one that I think does make sense from a United point of view. Bournemouth obviously have a better chance of Swansea than being in the Premier League next season, and they could loan him there again. Um, but I wouldn't like that if I was a Swansea fan, obviously. But I do want to just say on Christie, I do hope he finds a club in this window because it's not nice for him to be training and not playing any matches, and he's not going to
Mm.
get any game time at Fulham. He's a good pro, he's a good championship footballer, and I hope he does find a club.
Yeah, absolutely. Still got loads of years in him as well. And I think Championship is a good level for him. Even like a Preston North End or someone like that.
Yeah.
Just like that's a good level. And I think, I mean, the only rumours in terms of incomings is okay Yakushlu. And that seems to have a little bit of legs to it, but we're not going to get too excited yet. And like I said, like signing another midfielder, we'd be like, what the hell's going on? And like suddenly Natty Chabs is not getting game time and stuff. So and of course, John Mikel Surrey starts his game in about 15 minutes. So come on, whoever they're playing tonight, because obviously we want him back for Fulham. No, I do hope he does well, obviously. And AFCON has been somewhat of a dramatic tournament so far. But Joe, I think that's it. I think that's it. That's all to talk about today.
Yeah, I think so. A bit of a longer one because, well, I was going to say this doesn't happen very often, but it's happened twice now. We won 7-0.
So stupid.
I really hope it happens again because it's an unbelievable feeling. And I think the best part of it, actually, I want to retry my statement from earlier, is that this time Fulham tweeted 7th heaven rather than 7 heaven,
Oh, they learnt
which
from
they
their
tweeted
mistakes.
when we won at Blackburn. And I was just thinking, that's not the phrase, guys. Sorry, love you, media team, but come on, guys,
They
7th
must have been so
heaven.
panicked. It never happens, does it?
I know. I mean, it was, I guess, a scenario that they've never had to prepare for at all.
Yeah. Gentleman Jim didn't seem too infused by the fact we'd scored 7. He was just keeping quite monotone last night, but I'm
Yeah.
sure he was giggling inside like we all were at the Madstad. And there was one more thing to point out. Maybe there wasn't. Maybe I just forgot it. Anyway, that is it for today. Joe, what a day. Oh, I was going to say, hopefully the next 7-0 comes at home so everyone gets to see it.
Yes, that would be fantastic. Obviously, we've had a couple of 6-0s, but 7, elusive.
I would like to get. Oh no, we didn't even touch. We'll talk about Man City away next week whenever the fixture's confirmed. I'm
Yeah.
sure by this time next week we'll know where we know where we're playing, but when we're playing. Hopefully not a Friday or a Monday night or even a Sunday. But it's been the Jack and Joe show. We've won 7-0 yet again, and we'll see you Monday to review the 1-1 draw where we go back down to earth against Bristol City, Joe.
Yeah. Oh God, it's. I hope it's not one of those, because that would. I'm looking for a similar performance. I don't want to drop points to Bristol City again.
But I'm sure they'll be up for it. I've got to do a video again with that really nice Bristol City fan, Ben, who I met on Saturday again. He was a nice guy. Go check out his channel. And that is it. Disappointingly, no Reading 0, Fulham 7 vlogs at all from the Madstad last night. Very disappointing. There was a couple of reviews, but I think one got taken down because the guy was just too upset. But this is it. So if you type in Reading 0, Fulham 7, hopefully we'll be high up the list next to the highlights, and you can give us a gander. Joe, it's been a pleasure.
Yeah, pleasure, Jack. I hope we get to talk about a few more 7-0s over the years.
Over the season.
Yeah.
Over the season. Right. We scored more goals last night than Norwich have scored in open play in the whole Premier League season. Let that sink in. See you later, guys. Come on, Fulham.